useful debate instead of furthering it. The simpler, the better. Now, a ridiculous argument is one that is, one, illogical, lacking sound reasoning or rationality. Two, absurd, contradictory, unreasonable, or nonsensical. Three, frivolous, trivial, petty, or lacking seriousness. Four, specious, that's appearing convincing but lacking substance. Five, secular, repeating oneself without adding new points. Olumide's got more for us.
I think one of the examples of ridiculous arguments could be arguments regarding religion, which is better. Another argument that I kind of find it ridiculous is when Nigerians and Ghanaians start to compare their jollof rice.
You don't like it?
I don't really. I've eaten both. Do you understand? I've eaten both, and they're fairly good. I think the jollof rice thing has to do with who's preparing it.
So it's not about the nationality.
It's not about.
It's not about Ghanaian or Nigerian preparing jollof rice.
It's just who prepares it for you and who knows how to prepare it well. If you know how to prepare it well, you enjoy it. Both Ghanaian, both Nigerian, you enjoy it very well.
So if, for example, a caterer has a pitch for you and you want the caterer to do jollof rice for you, and you have a Ghanaian and a Nigerian, what you're looking out for is the recipe.
Yes.
Not the nationality.
Not the nationality. Just give me a perfect meal. That's all. Whether it's Ghanaian or Nigerian, just give me something perfect. Yeah. Jollof rice.
That's all.
Generality. Yeah, all right, so let's move on. Some of the examples of ridiculous arguments include, I'm right because I say so. I think this has to do with married couples or people in relationship. You know, they say in marriage, how do I put it? Sometimes you have to you have to be wrong to make your wife happy.
Yeah,
you have to agree with her most of the time. You know, they say happy marriage, happy life.
But is that even right? What if your wife is wrong most of the time? Do you keep agreeing with her just to let peace reign?
Sometimes you find yourself in that kind of
situation,
dilemma, and you might have to just agree with her. Maybe later you can revisit the topic when she's in a very good mood. You can revisit the topic. But you know, women just like it when they are right.
Okay.
All right. So another one is you are wrong because you are you. Yes. Some people tend to just have this stereotype of a particular person that he's always wrong because probably he might have made certain mistakes at one point, or maybe he made the wrong decision at a particular time. So you believe that all his decisions or anything he brings up is always wrong.
And that's very wrong.
That's very wrong. Also, we have this is true because I believe it. Yes, I think Nigerians too, we like believing things at times when we hear it from someone who we hold in high esteem. Yes, we like to believe. So once that person says it, I believe it. Also, he has this one, that's false because I don't like it. Yes, sometimes because you do not like certain things, you might believe that, oh, it's not true because you don't like it. Especially when I think this has to do with politicians. You know, when people criticize politicians and not because they don't like it.
Yeah.
They always want to believe they are right. They don't always want to believe any criticism that comes, you know, from analysts or any other person. They believe they are always right. Also, the government, the administration of a particular country don't always want to. They might. But in the eyes of the public, they don't want to always accept what the opposition is always saying. Yeah. They always want to believe that they are right and the opposition is always wrong. I mean, that's what we have today. Another one is, I'm entitled to my opinion and my opinion is fact. Now, where do you draw the line between your own opinion and what is right?
That's the thing.
You have to also understand, sometimes, yes, your opinion counts, but your opinion could also be wrong.
Which is why, as a media practitioner, sometimes it's almost impossible to be objective and not biased.
Yes.
Right. But the thing is, like you said, it's a thin line between having your opinion and stating the fact. Now, opinions are always subjective.
Yes.
But the fact is the fact.
Yes.
So it behooves you now to be, how will I say it, to have integrity, a sense of integrity, to stick to the fact.
To stick to the fact. Yeah. I like that. All right. Ridiculous arguments involve either human attacks, that's personal attacks, straw straw man fallacies rather, misrepresenting or opposing views, false dichotomies, that's presenting only two options when more exist. Now, slippery slope fallacies, that's assuming extreme consequences without evidence. I think we are used to that in Nigeria. Appeal to authority, using authority rather than logic. Now, remember, constructive debate involves respectful dialogue, active listening, and logical reasoning. Ridiculous arguments hinder meaningful discussions and can lead to confusion and frustration. One of the things I like about constructive argument is you learn. In the process, you learn. Yes, you want to state your fact, you want to state your own opinion, but sometimes you find out that, oh, what I thought was not actually true. And you learn. That is if you're actually open for constructive arguments.
One of the things that you said is germane is active listening. There is no way you can be a good contributor without listening actively. You need to listen to be able to cater to the needs of the other person.
And I think that's all we have right now on Banters and Etiquette. Stay tuned. The newspaper review comes up next.
Well, if you just joined us, this is the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. My colleague Olumide and moi, Vivian, are in the house. And this segment is where we get to take a look at the headlines on the national dailies. Now, we begin today with the Punch. Right now, there is this very glaring one in the middle strip. PDP chair, Wike, tackle Clark. Let me take that again. PDP chair, Wike, tackle Clark as anti-Fubara plot thickens. Two riders, I'm taking them all. Pro-Fubara Wike assemblies hold parallel sessions, rumble in National Working Committee over Rivers Gov. Pro-Fubara and Wike assemblies hold parallel sessions and rumble in NWC over Rivers Gov. Second rider, I won't quit PDP, says Wike as Ikimi heads disciplinary panel on ex-Gov's anti-party cases. You know, I was thinking, Olumide, once upon a time that Wike had become larger than life. He's still in the PDP, but he does whatever he wants to do, right?
And your definition fits Wike. He has become larger than life because some pronouncements he makes, some things he says. You know, I sometimes admire his courage and confidence. I don't know whether it's a splash of arrogance there, but I admire the boldness.
He's very bold.
You know, they say to Yoruba, Kilo Bojule, like, what is he? What's his backup? What's backing him up? You know, that's what they say. So sometimes I wonder, like, who is giving him this so much authority? It's almost like he's the one on top. It's almost like he's the commander of the armed forces. I like the confidence he has, like going toe-to-toe. I think this is the first time I'm seeing someone going toe-to-toe with a governor, a sitting governor. And it gets worse.
No, but it's not the first time.
It's not the first time. Yeah. And it gets worse. Now, the subjects of the governor are also going toe-to-toe. We've seen whereby a local government chairman has said he's not going to leave office. Whatever the governor can do, he threw a lot of insults at the governor.
Insubordination.
And nothing happened. All because there's someone up there who they believe has their back. And I think I would actually put the blame on PDP because they should have tidied up their house.
Yeah.
And this is what is happening now. It's a case of pardon my use of language, a spoilt brat in the family.
Oh, Lord.
Whom you are allowed to just do things the way they want, and it becomes a whole mess. Because if PDP are taking care of business, it wouldn't have skyrocketed to this. I mean, looking at how Wike became the minister, I mean, that calls for serious probe in the PDP. That calls for a lot of things.
No, but we have an administration who says it wants a relationship with the opposition. Now, the fact that you are an opposition doesn't mean you are not a Nigerian. You remember when we had the chairman of a local government come here?
Yes.
And I asked, what's your relationship with the opposition? There's something he said I can never forget. He said the road that he starred, the opposition passes on that road just like, he does. So APC passes on the road he starred, PDP passes on the road he starred. So Wike becoming a minister, even though he's in the PDP, I don't think is out of this world.
I know. Yeah. I'm not looking at it from the APC. I'm looking at it from the PDP. Okay. Of course, Tinubu will not look at you and say, come over. When he knows you are in the opposition, Tinubu will not put someone who will be a threat to his own administration or his own party in his government.
I know what you're saying.
It's politics.
You remember Tinubu during the presidential election, Tinubu took Rivers State.
Yes.
He wouldn't have done that without Wike.
That's why I'm coming. And I think Wike is still reacting to that pain of what Atiku did to him. Atiku was supposed to make him a running mate,
but he took Okowa instead.
So I think, and a lot of people have said that if they actually go to court, that at that time when Atiku was running for presidency, the court would have threw him out of the running race and put Wike there. So I think that was what was giving Wike that confidence, the whole G5 thing and all that. And we still have the former governor of Ekiti there, Fayose, still backing Wike, still even backing this present government. So it's politics. But I really want to see where this will end. Maybe it might end before 2027. Maybe we might see some other things, but let's see how it goes. And much of it has to do with I don't know whether he's now the permanent chairman of PDP or still the acting chairman of PDP. Much of it has to do with that. Whoever stems that particular chair, we should be able to tidy things up.
Absolutely. And just to answer one of your questions, there's a disciplinary panel that's specifically to address ex-Governor Wike's anti-party cases. That's what the second rider says. But let's move on, still on the front page of the Punch, above the masthead, Dangote Refinery reduces crude import from U.S. Yay. This is a report. You want to check it out? Oh, well, page 19's got details. Beside that story, we have this one here. Government plans fresh $100 billion investments.
I hope we're not lending this money. I hope it's readily available. Okay,
you hope we are not borrowing?
Yes, we are not borrowing 100 billion. I mean, if you do the calculation with 1,005 or 1,006, it's,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
All right, also above the masthead, we have federal government hikes. All right, whoa, Usman from Sokoto, long time no here. Good morning. Welcome, please, go ahead with your contribution.
I'm very fine, thank you.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I've not been able to get your channel for some time because it was off air for some time, but I just opened now and I saw you people.
Yeah, we are back, we are better.
Thanks for your patronage.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you for asking. So what's your contribution this morning, please?
Honestly, what is happening in Rivers is not too good. I want
Usman, if I may come in, sorry, Usman, can you turn down the volume of your TV set, please? It's affecting us here. Yes, turn it down a bit so we can hear you clearly.
Okay, go.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. What is happening in Rivers? Honestly, I am not happy because Wike is supposed to be an elder statesman. That guy is a very young man. It should allow him to, to continue to work as a governor because he has already had his own term, 8 years, and this man is just starting. He should just give peace a chance, allow the young man to rule Rivers State so that the people will enjoy the governor. He's just interfering, causing trouble here and there. As an elder man and as a minister of the Federal Capital Territory, he should just give himself some respect and allow the guy to do his work. They are all operating in different places. He's in Abuja, while this one is the governor of the state. So I advise Wike to please allow this man to govern rivers just like the way he did when he was the governor. Instead of causing trouble, this is his state. If the state becomes good, it is for his own good. If it becomes bad, it is for his own listen.
Thank you very much, Usman. We have a lot of papers to cover, but keep watching.
Thank you very much. May God bless Nigeria, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Usman. It was such a pleasure to hear from you again. Well, we have more to cover, like Olumide said. FG hacks passport fees to 50,000 naira, 1,000 naira, 100,000 naira. Let me take that again. Federal government hikes passport fees to 50,000 naira and 100,000 naira. And there's a lot of uproar on social media right now regarding that.
I mean, it's one thing for you to be able to afford passport, and it's one thing for you to come out on time. I know when the Minister of Interior came in, much of what he was doing was to make sure that you get your passport on time. But of course, there have also been controversies and allegations that that is not the case anymore. I know he also used that as a key point agenda in his 1 year in office, blah, 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 and all that. But, well, let's see how it goes. Let's see how Nigerians react to it. Maybe we might get enough reaction for them to consider it again and do a review.
Like one of the policies that was pushed, the cybercrime levy was paused because there was lots of outcry from Nigeria. So let's see how this goes. Now we have this story here, just middle strip. APC receives PDP, LP, ADC defectors in Edo. I take that again. APC receives PDP, LP, ADC defectors in Edo. Page 13 has details of that. Let's take a look at now Edo Gov poll. Obaseki approves payment of local government pensioners gratuities. Just as the election cycle heats up, Obaseki approves payment of local government pensioners gratuities. Page 13 has got details of that story. Let's see what is happening below the middle strip. Togo, Benin, owe Nigeria $14 million for electricity. That's coming from NERC. That's massive.
That's massive.
Yeah. And then you have this one, e-hailing drivers reject fare slash, threaten strike. Last but not least, on the front page of the Punch, FG, that's the federal government working to avert impending ASO strike. That's coming from the ministry. I hope that pans out well, though.
Yes, I hope that pans. We are not ready for any other strike again. All right, let's quickly move on to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. It says here, petrol scarcity worsens as marketers load at 780 naira per litre. We have just, I think we have 3 writers to that story, which I'm going to take real quick. Transport fares rise by over 200%. We have another one which says transporters lament impact on business. Nigeria becoming failed state. This is coming from Pengensin. I mean, it's an irony that this is actually coming from Pengensin itself, one of the bodies in the oil industry. Just above the masthead, we have food inflation reducing. We will reduce it further. Finance minister, well, until I go to the market and I'm being shocked by the slash in prices of chicken, meat, tomatoes, and for other food items, I would say yes. All right, end bad governance, hashtag end bad governance. CSOs berate federal government over prolonged detention of protesters without charges. You know, talk about delayed charges and the judiciary and judicial reforms. Beside that, we have federal government increases international passport fees. I'd like to get our analyst on that, see what he has to say about that. Beside that, police invitation to Ajaero. More critical unions give strike notices. This is a story, a developing story that might spiral into a whole lot of things. I mean, not to be negative, but I mean, I'm actually following this story. One writer to that story says, as U.S.-based union petitions Nigerian embassy. Now, below that, we have another one. We have former vice president in all smiles, that's Professor Yemi Oshibajo, beside the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi. I think there's a caption there, at Democratic Convention in the United States. Beside that, fake certificate, Uganda, Kenya, right jam, demand student verification. So I think this fake certificate cuts across borders.
Yeah, but let me take you back a little bit. It's interesting to see former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo.
Yes.
He's been so quiet, but it's interesting that he is together with Peter Obi, the LP presidential candidate, at the Democratic Convention in the U.S. That speaks volumes.
Yeah. I saw a video yesterday. They were seated together, chatting and all that. It's quite refreshing to see. I mean, he's all looking. And he's looking dapper. He's looking fresher. I mean, it's almost like he's looking fresher than when he was in the office.
Yeah.
But that's good. I think that's what retirement does. Now, below that, we have federal government finally criminalizes vandalism of telecom facilities in New Gazette. Now, besides that, let's take this one. This is from Olufason. It's a statement. It said, Nigeria made Dangote a colossus. It must now handle him wisely.
Well, that's his opinion. Yeah,
that's food for thought. And I think we have another one. That's on the sports section. Let me see if I can quickly read that. It says here, okay, sports minister dangles 24 million naira cash reward for gold medalist. This has to do with the 2024 Paralympic Games. Well, I think that's all we have right now, coming from the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
All right, let's quickly take a look at the Daily Trust. Front page Daily Trust, major headline, airstrikes killed 5 Boko Haram commandos in Borno. This is coming from NAF. Let me take that again. Airstrikes killed 5 Boko Haram commanders in Borno. That's NAF talking. 2 writers to that story. I'll quickly take them. The first one says, terrorists slay many miners in Niger. 3 soldiers, 15 bandits die in Plateau raid. Page 4's got details of that story. And then right here, there's a picture showing El-Rufai, former governor of Kaduna State. So let me quickly take a look. That picture I'm talking about is on the front page of the Daily Trust.
Yes.
Yeah, right below the middle strip.
Beside the presidential candidate.
Absolutely. From right to left, you have former Vice President and PDP presidential candidate in the 2022 election, Atiku Abubakar, former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, former Controller General of Customs, Ahmed Alihu Mustafa, and the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, during the visit of representatives of the family of Kashim Imam to ask for the to ask for the hand of Atiku's daughter, in marriage in Abuja. This happened yesterday. You see how these politicians, rally around each other when it comes to family business.
I remember just before the election, I think one of former President Buhari's son was getting married, and I remember that Atiku was there. They were even chatting. I think Atiku was like the father of the day. And, there were so many people coming out to say that, look, these guys, you just think that they might seem as if they are fighting. But behind closed doors, they are friends, they are laughing, they are, chat buddies and all that.
No permanent friends or foes in politics. That's what they say. Well, let's take a look at the other stories here. Above the middle strip, Kano Anti-Graft Agency probes 660 million naira freshwater contract scam. Also, federal government targets $100 billion investment, 2 million jobs from creative economy. This story here also says new northern group to meet leaders over region's problems. Also on the front page of the Daily Trust, PDP crisis. If I open up, it won't be pleasant. This is coming from Damagun. This is a whistleblower waiting to blow his whistle. Well, below that, Ribadu El-Rufai Tambuwal meet at Atiku's residence in Abuja. I think that's more on the picture we just talked about. Federal government hikes passport fees. We also talked about that earlier on. Last but not least, abducted Sokoto district head dies in captivity. This is a very unfortunate one, and it wraps it up for us on the front page of the Daily Trust.
All right, from the Daily Trust newspaper, we move to the last newspaper, which is the Guardian newspaper this morning. It says, echoes of cabinet reshuffle trail minister's performance a year after. Food for thought. I like that. Echoes of cabinet reshuffle trail minister's performance a year after. And there's a picture here. I don't know who that is, but I leave that to our viewers.
No, but look at the cap.
To guess who
They will
that
guess
is.
who that is.
We all know who that is. I mean, the writing is on the wall, and it looks like a
He has
damaged.
a hammer.
Yes, he has a hammer and a saw.
Yeah.
I can see a table damaged, which represents oil and gas, power, security, health, building the nation. I think this is a pure representation of the economy or Nigeria itself. I don't know.
Did you see those rats on it?
Yeah, the rats or the mice. I don't know who they represent, whether it's
There's corruption.
Corruption or politicians. Well, I leave that for our guests, I mean, for our viewers to, dissect. Now, below that, we have experts urge diplomacy as Chinese firm list country's assets for sale. I saw that story yesterday. I think one of the assets, Nigeria's assets in London, a guest house in London, has been put up for sale. I mean, it's...
This feud between the Chinese company and Ogun State is not going away.
It's not going
It's getting
away.
messier.
Yes, and I remember on our sister station yesterday, High Impact 102.1 FM, I was asking our analyst, because we did a topic on this Chinese and Nigerian, I was asking him that I hope that other countries, because we are not just in bed with China alone, we are in business with many other countries, and we don't even know who some state governors or even the federal government are owing. I hope other countries, as a result of this judgment, they won't use it, they won't see it as a leverage or an opportunity to milk us dry. And now, most of them will just be getting court injunctions, court restrictions, and all that, and be seizing our assets here and there. I mean, because seizing 3 jets is not something easy. But well,
Out of those 3 jets, 1 had been released.
one has been released. Well, we thank God for that. Now, below that, we have Nigeria to begin revocation of dormant oil well licenses. That's on page 29. We can see Wike and now it says here, Wike Damagun defend standpoint as PDP and Rivers crisis first. I think at this point, they always say if you think peace is too cheap, try war. But I think at this point, that's where they are heading for. And sometimes,
if you think peace is expensive, try war.
But at this point, war might be the solution to
Well,
getting
is war
peace.
ever a solution?
Yes, yeah, it's not always, but sometimes. I mean, look at America. It had to go through a very lengthy war to gain its independence at a point. So, well, let's see how this comes out. Below that, tough times ahead as subsidy shaves 7.7 trillion naira off FAAC allocations.
What are they saying? That it's going to get tougher than it is already? No,
subsidy
please.
is supposed to make things easier for Nigerians.
Yeah.
When you subsidize things, you make it easier, because they said government is not supposed to be a profit-making organization. So I don't know what this headline is saying, but let's move on. Stakeholders set agenda for Kekere Ekun. That's the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. That's a news page 3. Below that, Arabambi alleges plot by Ajaero to spark civil unrest. Yes, this might spark a bit of unrest. I mean, it's the head of a unionist, a major unionist, who is entangled in,
Politics.
Politics, not just politics, terrorism charges, rather. And, they are threatening strike, they are threatening so many things. I mean, there was a report I saw yesterday that once they were threatened that once they pick Ajaero, they would order their union members to shut down the economy. That's what they're saying right now, that once you pick up this guy, we will shut down the economy. So I just hope, and I think somehow, maybe the president might have to step in. Now, Step in. Now, the thing is, this is an investigation. It's an investigation.
Now, what we should focus on is he guilty or not? If he's guilty, he should be prosecuted. If he's not, he should be let go.
Now, I don't know whether he has surrendered himself or he has gone to the police.
Well, I don't think he's resisting invitation. I don't think.
I hope he has gone.
Unlike someone I know who the appeal court yesterday was saying, produce yourself, Yaya Bello.
I mean, so let's take the last one. It says here, let's see if I can get that. Tinubu has mortgaged Nigeria's future to family, friends. Let me take that again. Tinubu has mortgaged Nigeria's future to family and friends, says Atiku. Well, that's his own point. That's his own opinion. But I think that's all we have right now coming from the Guardian newspaper. We'll take a break, yeah? And when we come back, we'll bring in our analyst. Please stay tuned.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you peak in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
If you just joined us, this is the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. Vivian and Olumide in the house. This segment is where we get to take a look at major headlines on the national dailies. And in a short while, we will be joined by guest analyst Bolaon Olojede. In the meantime, though, let's quickly take a look at this headline on the front page of the Vanguard. It says, federal government finally criminalizes vandalism of telecom facilities in new Gazette. Olumide, now that they are criminalizing vandalism of telecom facilities, I do hope that they are also appealing or making it a must for these telecom companies to serve their customers very well. I don't know if you're satisfied with what you get from them.
These days, I mean, my network provider has been, I'll rate them 2/10.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. It's really bad that when I get calls, it will cut. Yeah. I will call back almost 5 times. And I have to be apologizing. Sometimes the person calling will think, oh, it's my network or it's his network. And I tell them that, no, it's not you. I'm experiencing this. I've been experiencing this for quite a while now. I do not know. And it's not as if the NCC, they don't fine them. They fine them. I don't know whether they pay. Of course, they should pay the fines. But it's like, you know, when you feel that, oh, I can do something and get away with, and almost get away because all I have to do is just pay a fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what other reprimand they can give them, but they really need to do better.
Yeah, they need to do better. And I think why their facilities were vandalized recently was because of what happened not too long ago, where the bad lines, and you had millions of Nigerians queuing up at, you know, I'm talking of one of the telecom companies, MTN, queuing up at their offices, and when they were not attended, when they weren't given attention, they began to destroy, you know, facilities. Talking about MTN, after the linking of, this is personal experience, after the linking of my NIN to my line, I got like a couple of messages to say from them, say, congratulations, your line is now linked to your NIN. And then a few days later, I get a couple of messages to say, oh no, it wasn't linked, relink. I'm telling you, this was been happening between MTN and I. So this is just not acceptable. Now, why you're saying do not damage our facilities, which is a very valid appeal, also make sure that you serve the customers well.
Well said. All right, let's look at another topic here. One of the headlines here, the one this one that talks about this Agiro thing. I know, yes, the NLC, they are always quick to defend themselves, but I believe that if Agiro goes about this thing in all transparency and all, I think this thing can be put behind in less than a month.
Yeah.
I believe it's just you going to the station, sitting down with them. Because I remember that interview with Force PPRO, that's Miwa Adejobi and a journalist. They sat down and he explained everything. He explained that raid to the NLC headquarters, and he explained in his own words that they were after a terrorist, an international terrorist, who was a tenant in that building. Now, he said that NLC sublet part of the offices of that building to different people. So it's not as if they are occupying the whole building. There are other people occupying the whole building. And so they were after a particular person. They've been tracing him, and with the intelligence report they got, they were supposed to nab him in that office. But unfortunately, he had left, he escaped. But they were able to recover certain documents that had traces of the National Labour Congress.
Oh.
So it's not implicating them, but it's maybe conversations with them or something, but they just wanted clarity that, okay, what dealings do you have with this person? It's like a landlord and tenant. Of course, you have certain dealings with your tenant. Even if your tenant is a terrorist or something, there will be some form of strings of communication between you, and clarity will make it, oh, this person, I rented my apartment to this person, and nothing more. That's all.
All right, so the questions the police will be asking, I'm sure, will be, did you know that your tenant is an international terrorist? Did you know this, and you still sublet to him, and all of that? But the thing is, if what you're saying is the issue, the crux of the matter then shouldn't be Agiro wanted for treasonable felony or financing terrorism. That's what the headlines have been saying.
You know, some of our headlines, we like sensational news. We like making news very sensational, blowing it out of proportion and all that. It could just be he was invited over terrorism, questioning or
questioning over terrorism financing
and all that. Now, but they made it seem as if, oh, he's being charged or he's being accused of this. But let's welcome our guest, Gbolahan Olojede. It's so refreshing to have you again. And the newspaper review. Good morning.
Gbolahan, can you hear us? Okay. We do
good morning.
Yes, good morning.
I can hear you.
Yes, so good to have you on board this morning. Olumide has a question for you, though.
Yes, we were just discussing about
good to be here.
Yes,
we're discussing about the Agiro terrorism financing charges and all that. Let's get your thoughts on that. What do you see out of? What can you make out of this?
Well, the good part for me is that Agiro is not just the regular Nigerian on the road. He has access to the best of legal support that he can get in the country. So it probably is leveraging on that to ensure that nobody can violate his right. So that's a good part. But the bad part is also to ask, if it was you or myself, what are we going to be able to do if we can't afford those the Falanos and the rest of them to come to our aid? So as a people, we must be able to get to that point where the average person on the road has a trust in the system. And we won't have to, when the police invite it, say, oh, come around, we will start saying, oh, maybe somebody might detain me unlawfully, and then we'll start looking for a lawyer before you can go to see the police on an invitation. On the flip side of it, it is important to say that nobody, repeat, nobody should be above the laws of the country. So it means that the police have invited you, and things have been done the right way by them. The right thing is to honor the invitation of the police. So I understand that delicate line. You probably want to honor that invitation on one side. On the flip side also, you're scared because of certain antecedent that, oh, maybe your rights might be violated. So getting the police to be in that space, I mean the lawyers to be in that space and ensure that things go right is a lucky side that the NLC chairman has. And I hope we can resolve it, because all those talk about downing tools and the rest of it are not things we even want to have on the table at this time.
That's a very well-rounded analysis on that particular subject. Thank you so much. Now, let's take a look at what's happening between Wike and Fubara in Rivers State. Looks like the plot thickens, yeah? Now, there's this headline on the front page of the Punch. It says, it's the rider. I'm going to take a rider to that story, that Ikimi is heading a disciplinary panel as ex-governor Wike's party cases. Yeah. Ikimi heading disciplinary panel on ex-governor Wike's anti-party cases. Now, this is a rider to the headline that says, PDP chair Wike tackle Clark as anti-Fubara plot thickens. What's your take on this story, though?
It has been long coming. I would have expected that we arrive at this junction much earlier. Anti-party activities is something that could run down an entire party, would destroy the party. Therefore, what you see is that most political parties frown seriously at the issues of anti-party activities. The Wike might have gotten a good run on this without interference for so long, probably because of who Wike was, or who Wike had been to that party. He had been a chief, a very strong financier of the party, very strong party member who has helped to stabilize that party. Even when nobody was willing to put their money down, Wike was reputed to have helped to fund and kept that party on its feet. However, there comes a time when the activities of a party man may show so much disloyalty that the party may want to say, look, you have a choice to make. Do you want to be part of this party, or we invoke the necessary clauses of the party's constitution regarding anti-party activity? So it appears the party has now gotten to that junction where it will invoke those necessary clauses and deal with the matter decisively. The problem with allowing a matter like that to continue to linger is that you might have a repeat, or you might have more people coming into that space who want to be on the left. They also want to be on the right and benefit from both sides of the coin. That is not the way for partisan politics. It is quite destructive.
All right, thank you very much. Also, I would like to ask this question: what happens to Okay, let's put it this way. There's still a pending issue. I know Wike, this whole problem started with Atiku not picking him as running mate. Do you see a situation whereby this is also being resolved? Because if you look at it, Wike still has a bone to pick with Atiku.
Well, when you have a problem like that within the party, the belief is that it should be resolved within the party. Not resolved in the manner in which it appears Wike has taken it. Well, Wike could argue that, look, I'm a Nigerian, I can take unemployment with irrespective of who the party is. I can take that. Now, we have seen that in this country before with the late Chief Bola Ige, who was an AD chieftain, but took up a ministerial appointment with the PDP government then. And it wasn't such a big deal as this one had. But the problem, this Wike one seems to have certain other peculiarities around it. Even the winning of the state, of Rivers State, by the APC government, is still being questioned till today about what role Wike played in that victory. So where you have those levels of perceived disloyalty, I'm glad they are using a committee approach to it. Let the committee investigate every detail of what is going on, including the step that led to it, which you just mentioned, the fact that Atiku did not pick him as vice president despite all his commitment and funding for that party. He literally kept that party afloat in those very challenging moments of the party. So that committee will review everything in totality and be able to make a decision on how to move forward. That decision is very important. Otherwise, the party might as well be preparing for many other Wikes within its fold.
Now, in your own personal thought, what is the best punishment or reprimand that the PDP can give Wike? Should he be exiled, or I don't know? What in your in your own thoughts, what do you think is the best way to take care of this Wike issue?
I think the committee at the end of the day, when it finishes investigation, should be able to line up some things that it will accept for Wike to continue to be a member. And if it's not going to be able to align with those conditions, then it should be asked to honorably take his leave.
I agree. Now, well, let's quickly.
I'm sure this will lead to litigations anyway. I hope
yes. Yeah. Now, let's quickly, switch gears. Yeah. If you go to the Vanguard on the front page, major headline is petrol scarcity worsens as marketers load at 780 naira per litre. Let me take a couple of riders. Transport fares rise by over 200%. Transporters lament impact on business. And the third rider, let me just take it, Nigeria becoming failed state. That's coming from Pengasin. Now, Gbalao, I know you are a business owner as well. You are a legal practitioner. You buy fuel, you consume fuel. I don't know how it has been for you this past week with the queues and the rise in the cost of fuel. What's your take on this particular headline, though, just to pick your brains a little bit?
Okay, a bit of quick correction. I'm a finance expert. I'm not a legal practitioner.
I beg your pardon. Yes.
Okay. I just happened to, I was out of town over the weekend. So on my way back, I got lucky somewhere at close to Ibadan, where I bought fuel. And that is the fuel. And incidentally, I bought it at 6:30.
Wow.
Now, quite unusual, abnormal, it is unbelievable great.
Yeah.
I filled my tank, and that is what I am still using.
Wow.
So somehow I have been shielded from the problem, apart from the fact that I still have to run into traffic caused by those fuel queues all over town. But beyond that, of course, I have colleagues in the office. I have, people all around me who, in fact, we normally have a Monday morning meeting in my office. Almost half of the staff came late for that meeting because of fuel-related issues. So it has been a very, very bad period. And I think it is shameful. For my entire adult life, even before I became an adult, I've known fuel scarcity problems with Nigeria. And decades, we are still grappling with it. What exactly is special about fuel issues that we cannot deal with? I have lived in other parts of the world. In fact, there was a particular part of the world where I lived for 3 years, and I cannot remember a single incident of fuel scarcity. So I ask myself, for a country that is a crude producer, for a country that used to have functional refineries, how come we are unable to move past this problem? At a point, it was the issue of there are no refineries, so we're importing everything, and of course, we run into troubles from time to time. Now that we have refineries, there are no crude to give the refinery. So it's such a shameful situation that I just wonder what we're going to do. In the military time, it was like this. In the civilian time, from time to time, we run into this fuel scarcity. Probably the best season we had was even the last administration, incidentally.
Yes. Yes.
And we are back to that periodic bout of fuel scarcity. The truth is that we just have to wait it out as we used to do. We will continue to hear all sort of explanations from the regulators and the sole importer of this product. And some of those explanations, they don't solve our problem. What the Nigerian citizen wants is just make the fuel available. Right? All those excuses, we had this problem, we had that problem. Now only you be the country with it. Why are we permanently in this situation?
Yeah, you know,
that is the issue.
Thank you so much, Golan. We could go on and on, but we do hope that when we call on you again, you will answer. But you've been brilliant on this show. Thank you so much for being a part of it.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you know, Bola said something that most of his adulthood.
It's true. Looking back at it now, I think it's quite right. I've been experiencing it since I was a child. Fuel scarcity has always been
It's not rocket science, but there's something he also said that incidentally, that word he used was very interesting. He said, incidentally, the last administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari was when you didn't have, you know, reoccurring fuel scarcity queues and all of that. But then that's where we get to call it wraps on this particular segment. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, the show continues. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is a Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. Vivian and Olumide in the house. So this segment is where we get to throw out a question on social media and have you make your contributions. It is very, very interactive, I promise you that. So this was what we asked. What is the best way to handle someone that you lend money and refuses to pay back? Right? Let me throw this question to Olumide first. What would you...
Well, I said this thing yesterday. I said do it the Lapo way.
Oh my gosh. That's harsh.
But you know, I remember these loan sharks when when you owe them money and they start to call your what do you call it, your lines actually. They start to call all your contacts, they start to call your family members, and they say so many damaging things about you and all that, all in a bid to get their money back, all in a bid to force you to get to pay up that money. But that has been
There's resolved. A law actually the Nigerian government had said stop intimidating Nigerians. It was to the loan sharks. But the thing is, if you lend someone your money, you should expect the person to pay back. But first, find out why the person is unable or refusing to pay back. There's a difference. If you're unable to pay, it's a totally different kettle of fish from when you're refusing to pay. Did you lose your job? Are you having financial difficulties? So I think it depends on communication between who loaned the money and who's owing the money. To find out exactly what the problem is. But if you borrow money and you're able to pay back, you should pay back.
I have a theory which I've discovered that works for me. If I want to borrow someone money, I'll rather borrow what I can do away with. Yeah. So if you ask me for 10,000 naira and I can do it with 5,000 naira, I just give you 5,000 naira and let the friendship continue. Right?
What you did was just to remind me of what we talked about yesterday. Sarah and I, we talked about what we threw out on social media was, say, if your friend has an emergency eye surgery and you just want 50 million naira, what would you do? And some people said they would give out the amount that they are able to let go of. Somebody said she was going to loan it. But some people said, they will just give what you're able to. So it's about how you give, no pressure. Well, let's find out what people are saying. I've got Jide from Lagos. It says, to handle this situation, I would first try to communicate with the person and understand their perspective. Maybe they are going through a tough time financially or personally. I will then try to come up with a repayment plan that works for both of us. If that doesn't work, I would consider seeking mediation from a trusted third party. As a last resort, I would take legal action to recover my money. However, I would also take this as an opportunity to learn and be more cautious when lending money in the future. Very well said, GD.
All right, let's take more of that. But don't forget also that you can also call us, take part in the discussion by calling 081-2182-0154. The number definitely will be displayed on the screen. Don't also forget that you can also stream on YouTube, Facebook, and of course X, formerly known as Twitter, at High Impact Studios. Now let's take the second one. It says, this one is Coyote from Egbeda. Now it says, I would start by having an open and honest conversation with the person. I would express my concerns and listen to their perspective. If they are unable to pay, I would work with them to find alternative solutions such as a payment plan or temporary reduction in payment. If the person is unwilling to cooperate, I would seek legal. Okay, I think you've taken this one.
No, you're right. Coyote just echoes what Jide said.
All right, so let me continue. I would work with them to find alternative solutions such as payment plan or temporary reduction in payment. Wow, you're nice. If the person is unwilling to cooperate, I would seek legal advice and consider taking action to recover my money under 5,000 naira. Now, ultimately, I believe being compassionate and understanding, but also firm and assertive when necessary.
Very good, Coyote.
Compassionate and understanding, but also firm and assertive.
It's a good combination.
Sometimes it could be contradicting. Where do you draw the line to be firm and assertive?
You start with being kind.
Start with being kind. So where do you draw the line?
After kindness,
there's compassion.
After that, then you can apply assertiveness and firmness. But I like what Coyote said. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, now he's saying legal action. I mean, is it 1 million naira, because 1 million naira these days, if you are going for a legal action, it might cost you that amount. It might just cost you 1 million naira to get back 1 million naira.
Valid point, Olumide. So it depends on the amount you're talking about.
It depends on the amount
the
person is owing.
Yeah, this is so good. Thank you so much. Let's see what Aisha from Kano says. Aisha says, I'll first try to communicate with the person and understand their situation. If they're genuinely unable to pay, I'll consider offering temporary relief or repayment plan. However, if the person is simply refusing to pay, I will take a firmer stance. I will send formal reminders and warnings, and if necessary, seek. Okay, I'll hold my thought. Bond from Calabar. Thank you for calling. Good morning, please. Go ahead with your contribution.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, for me, it depends on two things. One, your relationship with the person you lend the money.
Okay.
So, if the person is a family member, someone very close, the approach will be different. You may want to continue extending the time. You may not take any action. Family member of the person. Secondly, it depends on the amount of money we're talking about. And that's why, if anybody, in fact, I was approached recently.
Bond, can you speak up a bit? We're trying hard to hear you. Can you speak up a bit?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
And please retake that last paragraph. Retake your last statement. Let's hear you clearly. What were you saying?
Okay, I was saying it depends on two things.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, my relationship with the person, because if the person is a family member, a very close friend, there's a different approach I'm going to take. You will not want to take legal action like I'm saying, other people's comments.
Yes.
You may want to continue extending. I know a family member who is owing me almost 200K up till now. There's nothing you can do. You just have to keep, because I know that he doesn't really have the money at the moment, or he doesn't have much. So you just have to continue to be empathic about it. Apply empathy rather. Secondly, the amount of money involved also matters. So there's some amount of money you can't talk about legal action, because it might even cost you more and damage that relationship too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think about the future. And then what I do, thirdly, when someone approaches me like recently, can you help me with 50K, 100K? I look at the urgency in your voice. From your tone, I will know that you won't even pay me back. Because you are sounding desperate. I will give you back next week. I'm really going through this. I already know you won't pay back. So I told the guy, you know what, I will give you half of it because I know you won't pay me back. So I will give you what I know. If you don't pay back, I won't feel bad about it. So that's how I handle this. Anybody who asks me for money, I say, you know what, I will give you what I know. If you don't pay back by that next week, I will not feel bad. I may not even bother you. That's just for charity. So take this. So I have money in my account, what I call charity account.
Wow.
Apart from the money I keep for projects, and that charity account is for those who ask for money. So I may have 1 million naira, but my charity account is 50K. So no matter the challenge you have, if it is more than 50K, I cannot give you. At that point, I will say that. Well, let me give you.
All right. Thank you very much, Bond.
My charity account is strictly for.
Thank you very much, Bond. We do appreciate your. Yeah, thank you very much, Bond. We do appreciate that. I think Bond is a philanthropist.
Bond is an interesting person.
Safe to say.
Yes.
He has a charity account.
Charity account. This is the first time I'm hearing that. But thank you, Bond, for calling in. We do hope you continue to be part of the conversation here. But he said something, though, that he listens to the tone of the person, the voice. He listens.
So I have to be calm when I ask Bond
for
money.
money.
I shouldn't look but certain necessities will call for certain actions.
But he is able to read. Do you know that's a skill? It's a skill, and people have it. It's a gift, actually. You're able to read people's spirit. You're able to tell whether they are lying or not. That's a good one, Bond. Keep it up. So I was reading Aisha's comments before Bond's call came in. So Aisha said, I will send formal reminders and warnings. That's after she had said, in fact, let me start. She said, I'll try to communicate with the person and understand their situation. If they are genuinely unable to pay, I'll consider offering temporary relief. Okay, Edwin. Good morning. Edwin from Abia. Good morning.
Yes, morning.
Start from the top, please. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
So when I went and asked him for the the money, he told me that his ATM card has a problem. As he's going to the bank to have another ATM card and allow him. June got past, July, the same thing. When I went there on July for me to ask him for the money, what he was telling me, not even about the money issue, he was telling me that ATM is an narcotic. That if I don't want him to kill me, I should forget about the money.
Wow.
Money I lend you, you say you are a cultist, you want to kill me because of my money. But when you get asking for that money, you didn't tell me you are a cultist. So after I left you money, you now came back and told me the cultist. I think I have a family, you are going to kill me and kill my family because of money. So I now ran to the police, I reported the issue to the police. This is what happened. Police happened to pay them 10,000 naira before they should arrest this young man. So I'm confused. I don't know what to do. When I started TV, I discovered this program. I was so excited. That's why I said, okay, let me call to hear from you to give me the advice on how to follow this young man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edwin. Oh my gosh, this is deep.
This is really deep.
So, guys, if you're listening, you can also call in to advise Edwin, tell him what he should do if you're also a professional in this. But this is a summary of it. Edwin, I was going to ask him for the amount to do. Edwin loaned someone the money, and when he wanted to get his money back, the person began to make excuses. And when Edwin continued to persist, to say, give me my money, the person started threatening Edwin and threatening that he's a cultist. He was going to kill Edwin and his family members. Edwin took the matters to the police. This is Edwin's word. According to Edwin, he took the matters to the police, and police said, give us 10,000 naira before we arrest this guy. Olumide.
Well, two things here he can do. He can, now that this is a threat to life, and I don't know where it falls under the Constitution, he should still go ahead and make a report. Threat to life. Make a report. Yes, inform the police. Even if you don't have that money, that amount they're asking for to get him arrested, but make that report down in future. What you can also do is get the Force PPRO's social media handle. You could also tag him. I know that's what most people do these days on Twitter, on Instagram, when they have cases like this and it's unresolved, or the police or the police station nearby is not forthcoming, they just go ahead and tag the Force PPRO, either Muyiwa Adejobi or Hundeyin. He can do that also. You can tag those.
Can you send us an SMS, Edwin, so that if you don't have the number of this person Olumide is talking about, we can send to you?
You know, so those are two things. I know that it has been said, a couple of police officers have said it, that police cannot actually help you recover your money because it doesn't fall under their... okay, we have Edwin back. Edwin, glad to have you back again.
Issue, but now you say there's either DP or whoever you will talk about. If at all you can go to give me the person number in the screen, so that maybe if I can talk to the person anywhere the person is, so that I can also name a complaint. Just like what my auntie has said. So the money is a very small money. It's not a big money, just 20,000.
And the police is asking you for 10,000 first.
Is it come? Yes.
The police is which state are you calling from?
Abia State.
Okay. Abia State. All right. Before the show ends, please keep on listening. We'll drop a line where you send a text to us and we'll communicate to you. Is that okay?
Come again.
We will drop a number as the show progresses. I will drop a number. You will send a text message to that number. That will communicate better.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So this is what this show is about, yeah? You have your problems, calling, we'll see what we can do. You have contributions, hey, be free, let's do it. Now, Aisha, I will read your message. I will read it. Aisha says, I will first try to communicate with the person and understand their situation. If they are genuinely unable to pay, I would consider offering temporary relief or repayment plan. However, if the person is simply refusing to pay, I will take a firmer stance. I would send formal reminders and warnings, and if necessary, seek legal action to recover my money. I believe in being kind and understanding, but also in standing up for myself and protecting my interest. Yes, I did it. I finally read Aisha's message. Oh, Bond from Calabar. Thanks for calling back.
Bond.
Go ahead with your contribution, Bond. We are listening.
Okay, this wary of the attitude of the lenders, or rather, how do I call them now? You know, if you borrow somebody money, your own attitude also matters. I mean, I know someone who borrowed money from a friend of mine, and that friend was harassing her up and down. You don't pay me that money, all kinds of harassment and calling her. I had to tell the person, don't pay the person the money.
Oh, wow. Why do you say that?
Because you need to see the attitude. Exactly my point. You need to see the attitude, even threat. You know, these people who borrow money, I mean, if I borrow you money, or I lend you my money, that does not give me the right. So there's an extent in law I can treat you, even when you break, even when you do, you cannot pay me back. I mean, I cannot be calling you names, I cannot be threatening you, giving you all in the name of, giving you all kinds of timelines as a certain threat, because you didn't meet up the time I was expecting the money back. So we should be wary of the attitude of both people here. Because I've seen situations where even the guy who borrowed money to the other person also threatened the person. If I don't get the money by so day, I will deal with you, you will regret knowing me, all kinds of things. And that can also get you arrested, even you who borrowed the money out. So I'm just speaking from the point of law here, just for us to balance it too.
Thank you, Bond. In fact, I know of a late actress, Ada Ame, who had complications because of the debt she owed. She fell into depression and all of that. She's late now. I know a number of bank MDs who have committed suicide because of debt. Yes, so the manner of the lender also matters. That's what Bond is saying.
Yes, that's what he's saying.
Olumide, we're wrapping this up, yeah?
Yes, let's quickly move on. This is Barakat from Yabatek. As a Muslim, I believe in cautious. I believe in being cautious when lending money. If someone refuses to pay back, I would first try to resolve the issue amicably. However, if they continue to refuse, I would seek legal action. I also believe in reporting them to relevant authorities to prevent them from taking advantage of others. This is Barakat from Yabatek.
Fantastic. I have a psychologist here. His name is John from Abuja, and he says, as a psychologist, I would approach the situation with empathy. I'll try to understand the underlying reasons for their refusal to pay. Are they going through financial difficulties, or is it a matter of principle? Once I understand their perspective, I'll work with them to find a solution that works for both of us. This is my submission on this matter. John, very well said. Thank you so much. Olumide, you've got Yamal from Lagos.
Yes, now this is Yamal from Lagos. As an entrepreneur, I see every situation as a business opportunity. If someone refuses to pay back a loan, I would try to I will try to negotiate a settlement or payment plan. If that doesn't work, I would consider taking legal action. However, I would also consider offering them a deal, such as a discount or payment plan to recover my money. Everybody's talking legal actions.
But let's find out what Dami from Ogun State says. As a social worker, but people are also talking empathy. I like that. Dami from Ogun says, as a social worker, I believe in the importance of relationships. If a friend refuses to pay back a loan, I'll try to resolve the issue amicably. I'll communicate openly and honestly with them and try to find a solution that works for both of us. If the friendship is strong enough, we can work through the issue together. Whoa.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is Great Queen. I'll be Queen first. Great Queen. Queen from Great Yabatek. Now, it's a lengthy one. I'll try to read it fast. Before I borrow you my money at first, you must be a known person. Yes. That is, I must have known the kind of person you are with money. I won't borrow someone I know won't return my money, no matter how tight or the kind of situation I find you in, because I already know you won't return or refund my money. What I do is I give you the money I know won't affect me, and forget about it. In fact, I'm going to tell you that I gave you the money instead of borrowing you. Thank goodness you don't know what I have or my worth. That way, we don't hurt ourselves.
Fantastic. Even banks, if you have good credit, they'll give money.
Yes.
So that's what Queen is saying. Yomi from Benin says, there's an adage that says, money is what makes two friends look at each other's face. This is so true. If I borrow you money and you don't want to return my money, we will have problem, and I won't take it easy until my money is paid in full. You borrowed, I didn't dash you. Yomi from Benin.
Last number on the list, we have, this is Ayaoba from Lagos. It says, set trap for them. Wow. This is really extreme. Ayaba says, set trap for them, leave the money for them. They will come back to lend some other time. When they come back, you show them Miyango. I hope I got that pronunciation. You show them Miyango Pepe. If they don't come,
that's the
never,
pepper that is very peppery.
Oh, okay, I get that. If they don't come, never you lend either Paul or Barnabas money. This is Ayoba from Lagos.
And that's where we call it wraps on this particular segment. Thank you so much for being a part of this particular one. We'll take a break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
Welcome to the high side of life. Join us every day at High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
I just want to be
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Welcome back. It is the Breakfast Cafe, and this is where we discuss topical issues on the program. Don't forget, you can also take part in the discussion by calling our phone number 08121820154. The number would also be displayed on your television set. Now, the topic for today is education policy and reform. Now, education is a cornerstone of human development, and it plays a pivotal role in shaping individuals, societies, nations, governments worldwide. Recognize the significance of education and have implemented various policies and reforms to enhance its quality, accessibility, and equity. Now, the analysis we're about to go into delves into intricate landscapes of education policy and reform, examining government initiatives and their impact on educational outcomes. So by understanding the evolving dynamics of education policy, we can gain valuable insight into challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. It's a great pleasure to welcome someone who is a known face in the house, Dakpo Adaramewa. He is a governor's consultant. Good morning. It's always refreshing to have you here.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And it's glad to have a topic that I understand a bit, quite a bit about.
I like it.
I like that. So let's start off. Education in Nigeria, we know that it's almost like we've been taking like 3 years back, or I mean, I don't know what it's. Sometimes I even ask myself, are they actually teaching AI in our schools? Because AI is taking over the whole education system. But let's start off with educational reforms. I remember history was taken, it was brought back. I remember the JAMB cutoff mark was reduced and so many things. And I'm sure on your way here, at least you would have seen one child beggar or child hawker on the road. What are the best education reforms or policies that can see that every child gets access to free, quote-unquote, free education in Nigeria?
I think the first place to start is understanding the true impact education has on any society, right? Because it's one of those things that we don't really talk about, development goals and where we want to be in a few years, but we don't understand fully the impact of education, right? Now let's look at Western societies, right? They focus a lot on education. They're able to develop technologies that advance their economies. Let's look at everything that we are using now. A lot of it is built in the West. Yeah. What technology indigenous to Nigerians have we created, like, that has gone around the world, that we can say people around the world are using something we created, right? We spoke about AI now. Now, AI was developed in America. It's an extension of American power, right? Look at the Chinese now. The Chinese are working on their own technologies. I think one of the things they're really working on is this chip technology. They're really focusing on that. They focused on 5G. They've created advancements in that area. So you can see that world powers, in order to exercise that power, in order to grow your economy, you need to have sharp minds. And we've unfortunately lost sight of that. Because, shall we say, education is not a quick win. So if a government now says that it wants to match the UNESCO, shall we say, standards for funding of education as a percentage of your GDP. So if the government decides to pump a lot of money into education, removing it from certain areas, because we only have a finite amount, we wouldn't receive the rewards probably for another 5 or 10 years. Yeah. And quite often, our politicians are too focused on quick wins than to have that strategic long-term vision for themselves. So there's a lot of things that we can do, obviously, but one of the things is get those 10, I think it's estimated to be 10 million Nigerian children that are out of school, back in school, right? Yeah. And one of the ways they can do that is ensuring that the schools themselves are actually a place you want to be. You know, how educated are the teachers themselves? How trained are the teachers that we're bringing into the schools? And one of the things we have this obsession, we like English too much in Nigeria. No, we do. If I come here and I give you a British accent, viewers think I'm intelligent, I've done well. But in reality, I might as well be speaking Yoruba. It's the substance of what I'm saying, really, right? So why don't we, in certain areas where we know there's not an inclination towards speaking English, why don't we teach them in their native language? I mean,
I think it's something that is done in China.
Yes.
The Chinese, they speak Chinese, they teach in Chinese, and yet they're world leaders. They didn't convert to
Wow.
English to become world leaders, right? So why do we have this obsession that we're shoving it down the throats to children who are growing up in societies where English is not being used, right? There's some regions that, yes, English is prevalent, but there are other regions where it's not. So the first time a child comes into school and the child is blasting one language he doesn't fully understand, both of them don't even understand the language, you know, why don't we get past that and focus on the substance of the education that we're doing? I think Ethiopia is one of the African countries that has done that successfully, right? And they've made huge strides in terms of child retention in schools. There's other strategies, you know, obviously putting pressure on the parents to ensure children are in school and then providing food. Now, our own difficulty is our idea of food has been floated.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people eat the food that those children are supposed to eat.
Yeah.
So it's a huge challenge in that area, you know.
You know, I'm thinking, imagine as a science student being taught physics in my language, which is Igala. It would be so easy, I'm telling you. But you talked about substance earlier on. What do you make of the current curriculum in our schools?
I think the curriculum needs further development, right? But the curriculum itself, it's not, I wouldn't say it's bad, right?
Okay.
Is it cutting edge? Is it, you know, no,
Is
not
it
really.
outdated?
A lot of what is expected, what we test for. So one of the key differences between, say, for example, the British and the Nigerian curriculum, Nigerian curriculum tests your knowledge recall, right? Remember in school then, if you can produce the textbook in the exam, you're a genius. No, seriously. If you
Come to think of it, you're right.
Yeah, if you can reproduce that textbook they give you,
Yes.
you're a genius. Whereas in the British education system, they're not testing for how much you can memorize. They're testing for how much you truly understand what was said. In fact, they even encourage you to critically analyze ideas the further up you go, you know. In university in the UK, you can write a paper criticizing what your professor suggested, saying and using evidence to back it up and arguing against him. Go and try that in a Nigerian university.
You probably might not graduate.
No, you will never graduate. In fact, they will ban you completely.
Yeah.
So we need to change the culture around that, you know, and advance all of this kind of thinking, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Now, you talked a whole lot. Now, I remember also there was a case with former Governor Nasir El-Rufai whereby he did exams for teachers and he sacked a whole lot of them. And, you know, it raises concern that if, in as much as we're trying to reform this education sector, what about the people who we put at the helm of affairs? If they are not well equipped, what happens? What can we do, you know, to take care of that?
The thing is, at the end of the day, let's look at how much we're paying our teachers in government schools. Because if you improve the pay, the compensation, it becomes an attractive opportunity. But when the pay is so low that it is only people who have looked left, looked right, and they couldn't find anything else to do that now land in education, usually you're not going to get people who are passionate. And one thing I know about teaching, because I've taught myself, is that you need to care. Because a lot of people think, oh, as a teacher, you show up at 9 o'clock, you finish at 3 o'clock, life is easy. No, you have to plan your lessons, you have to mark papers, you have to mentor these kids, you have to deal with their family problems, you have to help nurture them, right? So it is best we have people who are passionate, right? And part of that is ensuring that the teachers are well paid, the compensation is adequate, and the work environment is nice as well, particularly when we look at, you know, the primary sector. And I'll just add one more thing. I think one of the things the government needs to look at is public-private partnership. In Pakistan, there's something they call the Punjab Initiative, right? So what it does is it brings public school children into private schools, and the government, in a way, subsidizes that for the private institutions. Another idea I think that is worth exploring is the idea that we have certain public schools in key strategic locations with huge expanses of land. Now, what is the biggest challenge for a private education provider? The cost of building, the cost of buying land in key areas. Now, why can't we partner and say, okay, we bring a private institution to come and manage these schools. We allow you run it like a private school. And of your students, half of them must be from the local area, right? And we will subsidize whatever it is that we can give you as a school. But the other half, you can charge a private fee however much you want. Now, think about that. That would give, say, a private education provider premium land in GRE, for example, where you can build a world-class school, and you would know that half of your slots are reserved for children from the local community, from disadvantaged backgrounds, and the other half, you can charge. Now, as a business person, I know straight away that the fees that I would charge at that point will be less. Because one, I've just gotten the biggest thing out of the way, which is access to land. So there's a lot of ideas that are being used around the world to develop education that we can really have a critical look at and see how we can adopt some of these things.
Brilliant, brilliant idea. You talked about catering to the needs of the vulnerables. You know, there was a time when I had an interview with someone who was HIV positive. They have this, what's it called, this group, and said one of their members had reported that she was being stigmatized and her child wouldn't be admitted into a school because the child was not only blind, but was also the child of someone who was HIV positive. So my question now, how can government promote inclusive education that values diversity and fosters a sense of belonging for all learners? And you said you've taught before, yeah?
Yes.
I don't know if you have this Braille, Braille for the blind people.
Yes.
I don't know, is it something that's common in Nigeria?
It's common in specialized schools. I think there's one particular school on the island. It's not a government school, but it's for blind students. I'm sure they have all of that, right? Now, there's a lot. I have a friend, Dr. Kush, and she's fantastic in this area. She really focuses on things like that, developing education for the underprivileged and the disabled. But there's a lot we can do. For example, the first thing I would think of is how accessible are our schools?
Right.
I've never seen a wheelchair accessible public school in my life, to be honest. Firstly, the drive-in is not tarred, so how do you push the wheelchair? So you look at basic infrastructural things that mean that we've already taken one sector of the society and we said you can't come to school automatically, let alone we get into more specialized cases like children who are blind, people who have auditory problems, or people who have kind of learning difficulties as well. How well trained are the teachers? I know in private institutions we try our best, we bring all of that in, but there's so much work that can be done in that area. Building specialized schools, these are areas where the government needs to, because again, right, if we do not train the next generation, what will they become? You might ask yourself, the people who are, killing people in the southeast, the people who are kidnapping in the north, people who are doing all these things, how many of them do you think are graduates? Do you understand? How many of them do you think have been through a good and quality education where they were taught moral values? How many of them do you think graduated with a master's, then picked up an AK-47 and said, I want to enter the bush? I bet you it's a very small percentage of them. Maybe their leaders are educated and are just greedy human beings. But the people they use to do these acts are often thoroughly uneducated people. They don't understand, they don't know how to process society, and they're angry. They feel ostracized. So the 10 million out of school youths today, what would they be in 10 years? How would they help Nigeria's economy compete? Remember, we're in a competition with other countries. And one of the things I really believe is I hope our leaders have, greater ambitions. No, don't be a village chief. Don't think that becoming a governor or something is the height of it. How about you have the ambition that says my nation will be among the greatest nations on this earth? Because that's what led the Chinese to where they are today. And that's what led the British, a very small island with no resources, to rule over the entire world. It's the mindset of the people, right? So hopefully our leaders can adopt that.
All right, one more question just before we go, and in less than a minute. Now, we can have the best reforms, we can have every other thing, but there's a bigger problem, which is the mass exodus of teachers, lecturers out of the country. How can the government be able to even convince those that are out there that, oh, we have done this, we have done that, you can now come home? How do you think they can skip through this hurdle?
That's an interesting one. I thought about that, and it's not just teachers who are leaving, it's healthcare professionals. These are people who have been trained here and going to contribute in other countries. And one thing, I've been through the immigration system of trying to leave Nigeria. What they do is they bring a big sieve and they select the best of the best. That's what they do. They check for the best and they take them away. Each country comes there, it's like a shopping basket. They take the best from us, right? And leave the rest. Now, when the country improves, people will return, right? But until then, what we need to do is focus on training the people that will replace the people leaving. We can't all leave. A population of 200 million. If we take of the 80 million, 70 million youth that we have in Nigeria, if we're able to raise the next generation over the next 6 years, those who are still in high school, and we build in them capacity, even if half of them should leave, the other half is enough to keep us going, right? So yes, when the country is better, you don't need to tell anybody they will come back. They will naturally return. And nobody's blaming anybody. Seek greener pastures.
Yeah.
Seek greener pastures, yes.
It's
Do you
what
understand?
we
So,
want. That's a brilliant answer. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. All right, so we've been talking about something, Jamin, like Olumide said earlier on topic, education policy and reform, analyzing government initiatives and changes, right, in education policy. Our guest has been Dapo Adaramewa, and this is what we call a wraps on this particular segment. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Prospicians, Prospicians, Prospicians.
mission here is to stop all form of illegal oil bunkering. Right here we are in an illegal oil bunkering site, what they call camp, where they illegally refined petroleum products. They steal it from the pipes and wellhead, and they will come here and illegally refine it. It's an act of stealing. It's pure stealing of Nigeria oil. This community is Bogokiri in part of the K community in Degema local government area of Rivers State. Here we have almost 15 camps. Each of them have nothing less than 6 cooking pots, both on the ground and also on the tanks. Like you can see right here, in each camp we have about 30,000 in each of the barrels, as you can see it. And we have 15 of these camps, which means we have 30,000 times 6 and times 15, which is about 2.7 million liters of crude oil that these unpatriotic Nigerians are stealing from Nigerian economy. In pursuance of Chief of Naval Staff and crude oil theft mandate he gave us, that we must ensure that the theft of Nigerian oil must be reduced to barest minimum. This is not our first time. We've been doing it both day and night. And after here, we have other places. We are going to go those areas and also ensure that they do not continue in this illicit business.
All right, what you just saw was a massive covert affair, I'm telling you. That was the commander NNS Pathfinder, all about the Navy uncovering illegal refinery producing a whopping 200 million liters of fuel. Catch this, daily. Olumide.
You know, I want to say this in Pidgin. Fuel will never reach us. With this thing. Fuel that we are still trying, that has not even gotten around. So people, 2 million per day?
No,
over
200 million liters of fuel per day.
Wow.
Did you see the contraption?
Yes.
How it was built? I mean, these are sound minds. I'm wondering, how about if you have these people working for government and not against the government?
You know, one of our analysts has said something like, I think it was Dr. Kayode Adedayo, said that, you know, the rigorous things involved in getting a license and getting your refinery up and running might discourage some of these illegal refiners from, you know, getting it right. But that's what amazes me. We have illegal refineries working, and our very own legal from the federal government, Port Harcourt,
cannot work. But that's not to excuse theft.
That's not to excuse theft.
It's a crime, and we are glad that the security operatives are doing their thing. But then, take a look at the executive thieves who steal on a very large scale using barges, and they transport this product on the sea, out of the country. I remember, what's his name, the UBA chief, I can't remember his name now, saying, name the thieves, crude oil thieves, these big ones, name them. Name them so that we'll know who they are, so that you nip it in the bud. Now you're catching the small scale thieves, catch the big ones as well.
I remember also there was a time the Nigerian Navy seized a particular and it was destroyed. And there was a whole lot of rabble-rousing that, why did you destroy it?
It was destroyed.
It was destroyed on
Till
spot.
today, nobody knows who owns it.
You know, so I think we need to also expose these people. Let's know who they are. I think we've run out of time. Let's go on a short break. And while we're on a break, let's take the weather forecast and we'll be right back. Welcome back. It has been a roller coaster. It has been an amazing, it has been fun-filled, informative, educative, but unfortunately, or fortunately, we, of course, because we're coming back tomorrow, this is where we draw the curtains. And to that caller, that's Edwin from Abia State, who called and wanted heads up on how to go about this predicament, a number will be displayed on the screen, but let me call out the number for you. It's 091 5958 1881. The number will be displayed on the screen for you. You can send a text message to that number and we would communicate with you. But a big thank you to all our producers, our directors, the technical crew, every other, the videographers. It takes a whole village to get the show up and running. But the bigger thank you is to you taking part, calling us, sending us messages and all that, watching, just even sitting down in front of a television screen or your mobile set, watching us. It's a big thank you. We do appreciate that. So let's do this tomorrow, same time, same station. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media pages at High Impact Studios, at High Impact TV, and the Breakfast Cafe _. I am Olumide Shokoya.
And I am Vivian Oguche. Until I come your way again, have a fantastic day ahead. Bye.